Hey guys, it's Wes here. We're going to cover 5 things you probably didn't know about Pi wallets. In this video, I'm going to cover some really interesting things that have potential for some great things in the future of Pi. You guys know me in this channel. We don't pump, we don't say things that we don't know what we're talking about, and we don't speculate. We're going to cover today 5 awesome things about Pi wallets that you need to know. Coming right up. All right, friends, so we're going to jump right in. Welcome back. And actually, it's kind of a welcome back for me, too. I've been off all last week. I'm one of those YouTubers. I'm not a full-time guy. I do this when I have time, when the companies that I run allow me to have the time to do this. And also, I took a vacation, which was really, really nice and much needed, I will say, through this whole pandemic. So 5 things about Pi wallets. We know that they've come out. I've seen that they have been working on for quite a while. And I did a live stream and also a video where I covered just the entire blockchain. You can actually see the testnet blockchain right now. Did you know that? Go watch this other video. I will put it in the description down below, and I'll also put it right up there in a link. You can go and see that video, and you can see me cover all the blockchain itself. You can play around with it. You can look at it. But let's talk about some updates for just a minute. So once testnet hit the scenes, we saw a lot of people begin to say, hey, I want to try this. I want to just get a look at it. And the Pi core team has informed us that there are now over 12,000 wallets being used today. That's awesome. So keep in mind, because Pi is going to be based off, and actually is not going to, it is based off Stellar itself. Stellar is a consensus algorithm. And what that means for you and for me is simply this. It's really important to have a lot of nodes, because the nodes are the ones that handle all of the consensus making to determine what goes into the blockchain. It's much different than Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others that are proof of work or proof of stake. And so a healthy consensus algorithm needs to have a lot of nodes. 12,000 nodes, just to give you a picture, is awesome. There are not many consensus algorithms that are out there, first of all. And secondly, I'm not aware of any except for maybe Stellar that have 12,000 or more. So that's really, really good. Now, keep in mind that 12,000 nodes, currently, that's just people that are curious and playing with it. I mean, and how do I know that? That's a fact, because right now we're in testnet. So having a node, spinning it up, transferring test Pi from one person to another is awesome. It's fun, but it doesn't accomplish anything other than just helping test the ecosystem and see what it's going to look like. So that's good, right? I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying 12,000 nodes is a really good indicator of interest in the ecosystem and future potential for Pi, especially to test things and just make sure that it has the ability to scale. So I think that's awesome. I do think when we get to mainnet release, you'll see a lot of those 12,000 perhaps kind of evaporate away between now and then. But then when the full release comes out and Pi goes into full mainnet, I think you're going to see it blow up way past 12,000. And one of the reasons for that is there are incentives that will exist for those that operate a node. So I think that's pretty awesome. 12,000 nodes, I'm sure it's growing. We may see a reduction in time once testnet, kind of the newness wears off, but then we're going to see it shoot back up into the stratosphere. I wouldn't be surprised to see 30 to 50,000 nodes once we hit mainnet, which is really important, once again, for a consensus algorithm. Now, the second thing you probably didn't know is you don't have to run the full node to play around with the wallet. If you want access to the wallet and access to test Pi, you don't have to go through the entire steps of getting everything set up. You do need to run the node software, but the node doesn't have to be fully up and running. That's kind of a good thing, because I see a lot in Reddit's Pi Network subreddit and just online, people really struggling getting the node working. It's not super easy. You do have to do some port forwarding. You have to understand how Docker works and a few other things just to get the node functioning correctly and checking into the entire blockchain. But you don't actually have to do that. If you want to play and get access to the wallet, all you have to do is just download and operate and use the node itself, the software itself. It doesn't have to be fully configured. So if you've kind of thought about doing it and you're just a little bit hesitant because you're not as technical as others, but you do have access to a computer that can run Docker, give it a try. It's definitely much, much easier than you may think. Now, I'm not going to give you help support on this. That's not my job. You can reach out to the mods and others in the app if you need help. But I did just want to say that because I don't think a lot of people know that to run and get access to TestPy, you just have to run the software. That's it. That's a pretty cool fact number 2 for you. Now, fact 3, you probably didn't know, is wallets are coming to the iOS app and also to the Google Play app for Pi Network as well. It won't be relegated just to the Node software on a computer. What we're waiting for, the core team has said they're waiting for the approval from both Google Play and from iOS for this new update to be approved, and then you will see the wallet come through. Now, do I think that's going to be successful? I've had some people ask me that question of like, Wes, do you think iOS in particular, who's a little bit more stringent, is going to allow that update to happen inside the app? The answer is probably yes. The reason I'm pretty sure of that is there's plenty of other blockchain apps that are in the App Store that do allow you to have access to them, like Coinbase Wallet and Kraken and many, many other web-based wallets. I did a review on Trust Wallet just recently. So yes, I do think it's going to be able to get through. Usually iOS has concerns in the payment ecosystems. And if you want to see more about that, look at the big fight between Fortnite and Epic Games and Apple, and you'll kind of see where Apple draws the line in approvals is in the payment ecosystem itself. Apple takes a cut out of in-app payments. Well, that is not a concern right now for Pi in any way. So I do think that it's going to get through as long as the code review checks go through correctly and it just gets staged in, the enormous amount of app reviews that Apple is always doing. I do think it will go through. Same with Google Play. So hopefully here in the next few days to a week or two, we will see wallets in the app. And that's kind of fun because you're going to see a lot more usage, a lot more scale. And keep in mind, what we're really trying to do in the Pi network and the ecosystem right now with testnet is doing just that, testing, scale, looking for bugs, looking for how many transactions can we actually handle and how does this thing look when we have a whole bunch of people using this all together? Because where Pi will fail is if it can't handle the transaction demand inside the network itself, it's going to really, really struggle. But keep in mind, a Stellar-based blockchain is much, much faster than Bitcoin or even the current version of Ethereum. So this is why we're testing. This is why scale exists. In the software world, we call this QA, quality assurance, to make sure things work. Now, the fourth thing, and I thought this one was really interesting. When you read the announcement from the core team from Nick inside the app, one thing he indicated, and this is new to me and I think is pretty interesting, is he talks about the future of the wallet itself will not just be to handle and to save and to keep your own Pi crypto or to buy it and sell it. It will also be able to be used with other cryptocurrencies. Now that's interesting. I think that's a good move. I think there's no reason you shouldn't do that. I mean, if you already have the ability to allow for transactions and you built a wallet. Now, one wallet for one crypto is totally different than a wallet for another crypto, but you might as well continue to build on that. Why would you do that? Well, most people that get into crypto are kind of like me. I don't own just one crypto. I love to buy a lot of different cryptos. I am in all kinds of different ones. Just to throw some out there, Cardano I like to buy, Ethereum, Chainlink, Bitcoin, a whole bunch of them. I can't even think of all the ones I like to buy. And so having a wallet that has access to other cryptos, and that's a good thing. Like that's good for all of us because it just expands the utility of the Pi ecosystem and gives capabilities to users that aren't just in the Pi ecosystem, but in others as well. And there are implications to all of that. One of those is this. Now, I don't have inside knowledge on this, so I'm just speculating here a little bit. And you guys know me, I don't speculate on prices and things like that, but I don't mind to speculate on the future potential of technology because I'm a technologist. One speculation is if they're going to store multiple wallets, you may see Pi at some point explore what does it look like to become a DEX, a DEX, a distributed exchange like Uniswap or Pancake or one of those other decentralized exchanges. Because why not? If Pi is going to become a payment ecosystem, it makes sense that somebody that owns Bitcoin might want to trade some of their Bitcoin to Pi to buy certain things. And if that makes sense, it might make sense to have the exchange inside the Pi ecosystem itself. So you don't have to trade off on some third-party platform and then move the crypto over. Makes it way easier on fees and much, much faster to just do everything native in the Pi ecosystem itself. I don't think Pi will want to go through all of the challenges of becoming a true exchange, at least here in the US. You look at the US-based exchanges like Gemini and Coinbase and others, and they have very stringent know your customer rules. It is highly, highly regulated. So I'm not sure they want to go that full route, but I do see the potential to allowing distributed exchanges like a Uniswap to operate inside, or at least to communicate via API with the Pi wallet itself. And I think that's pretty awesome. That's definitely a direction I would explore. If you haven't seen my videos on what I call burn token, these deflationary tokens like FEG and SafeMoon and others that are out there, they all are bought and sold on a distributed exchange like Uniswap or Pancake, and you got to use something like MetaMask. It's a web wallet. Now, it's hard if you've never done that. It's not super easy, but I am saying I think that is the future potential with a lot of exchanges, and I would love to see the Pi ecosystem adopt some of that if they're going to allow multiple cryptos in the web wallet, in the iOS and the Google Play Store app itself. And fifthly, the very last thing that you saw in the announcement from the core team on wallets this week was this. Your security circle is important. Right now, it's not super important. If I opened it for my app right now, I've got thousands of people that I've invited just through my YouTube channel into Pi, which is pretty awesome. That's exciting, but very few of them are in my security circle. The intent of the security circle is not to, like, you don't make a ton more Pi by having a big security circle. If you've been adding everybody that, you've invited into Pi into your security circle and you have no idea who they are, you might be careful about that, because the future of the security circle is simply this. It's supposed to drive trust. Remember how I said that Pi is based on Stellar and it's a consensus algorithm? The way it builds consensus of legitimacy is by trust, is trusting users. Who do I know in my circles? And so one thing they did hint at that I thought was pretty interesting in the announcement was the future of security circles may even allow for things like password resets and account resets and account recoveries. And there may be a mechanism inside that. So let's say I have 15 people in my trust circle that I know. They're friends and family to me. I know those people by first name basis and I trust them. And let's say I have an account problem and I'm locked out or something like that. They are hinting that one purpose of the security circle, not just to generate consensus, but also for things like account recovery in a decentralized way. Maybe it sends a message to all of them and says, hey, Wes Spencer says that he's been locked out of his account. Can you confirm this? And maybe a couple people in my trust group, text me and say, hey, is that legit? And I say yes, or whatever mechanism offline it is. And they go back in the app and they say, yes, that's legitimate. That is him and that is correct. And if there's enough of those in the trust circle that all authenticate it, it unlocks. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think that's what they're hinting at. I think that's the future. And I think that's smart because when you have a platform ecosystem that's closed sourced and centralized like Pi, and you have currently somewhere around 15 million users in the system, that generates a lot of support requests, a lot of help desk tickets. And I'm telling you, the Pi team, as small as it is, does not have the capacity to handle that. So you've got to have some decentralized methods and options to be able to handle things like that. And I think that's an ideal use case potentially for the security circles if it all works out as planned. So there you have it, 5 things you probably didn't know about Pi and Pi wallets coming out from the last update. I'm pretty excited. I am still, just to kind of rewind everything for a little bit, very excited about the future of Pi, and I'm excited about where it's going.